U.S. Soccer makes a post on social media, leaving part of the Iran flag out, the emblem within the flag. They come out with a statement saying this was a 24-hour show of solidarity to the people of Iran, or to the women of Iran. It creates this big, huge storm, right? We now come to find out later on, the players, the staff, nobody was aware of this happening. They weren't aware. They weren't asked about it. The U.S. government haven't been asked about it, for obviously because this was a social media type of thing. And it's led to this incredible storm where it's what I otherwise thought was going to be this solidarity moment between the U.S. and Iran going into this, because it was based around human rights, now being this divisive thing that everybody has an opinion on for a number of reasons. So just to talk about a little bit, Tyler Adams then gets asked these questions in a press conference that are very direct, very aggressive, very sort of one-sided, and he handles them with incredible class, right? And like uses it as an education. Yeah, that's a great shout. You know, the idea of the captain that we want, this guy that's this young, is able to take something in a live press conference in front of the world, to be able to handle something like that the way that he has. If you haven't seen it, we've actually got some audio here or video from it. We're going to roll that for you guys so you can just have some context, and then we'll discuss it on the other end. So if we've got that ready, let's go ahead and roll that.
My apologies on the mispronunciation of your country. Yeah, that being said, you know, there's discrimination everywhere you go. You know, one thing that I've learned, especially from living abroad in the past years and having to fit in different cultures and kind of assimilate into different cultures, is that in the U.S. we're continuing to make progress every single day. You know, growing up for me, I grew up in a white family with obviously an African American heritage and background as well. So I had a little bit of different cultures, and I was very easily able to assimilate in different cultures. So you know, not everyone has that ease and the ability to do that, and obviously it takes longer to understand. And through education, I think it's super important. Like you just educated me now on the pronunciation of your country. So yeah, it's a process. I think as long as you see progress, that's the most important thing.
Really well said there, Charlie. And obviously for anybody that's listening and or watching, at the beginning, Tyler Adams calls Iran Iran, and it's a common mispronunciation of it. I grew up with a lot of Iranian people, so I was fortunate enough to be educated in that. But Tyler Adams uses this as a learning moment, Charlie, to say, you just taught me something. And even in the face of being asked an aggressive question, because the journalist says, let's, for once and for all, get the pronunciation right. Not in a way of saying, oh, and by the way, it wasn't like that. It was aggressive. He came after him.
A lot of people, I haven't heard many people pronounce it right, to be honest. So
yes. Charlie uses, I mean, Tyler uses it as a learning moment, and he's able to look that person in the eyes and say, basically, I appreciate you for that. Talks about the progress happening in the U.S. I mean, just for you, how did you take all of this and obviously speak a little bit about what it's like to be sort of under the microscope, perhaps, for something that you aren't to blame for, but are having to sort of be the responsibility or the face for? Because I know within your career, you've had to step up in a number of these types of moments, maybe not as comparable to this, but what it takes to be such a good leader like Tyler Adams.
You have to be composed and thoughtful, and just know that the perspective that you have to take accounts for everyone. And that's what he's doing as a captain. He's saying, let me answer the questions for the group. That's why I'm the captain. I'm the representative of not only this team, but you also put in a bigger context. I'm representing our country. I'm the leader. I'm the one speaking responsibly for the men and women and the children of our country. And so I think the way he was able to not react to that question, because I did feel it was antagonistic, the way he asked, he tried to get almost a reaction out of Tyler Adams, one that is not from a place of positivity. And Tyler just came at him with grace. And you have to have gratitude in the way that you approach the game, the way that you approach people, respect and dignity. Tyler is the perfect player to highlight what we are about. Hardworking, determined, understanding, and willing to grow. I think that's what is so great to see from this team is as young as they are, and believe me, we know they're young. We hear all the damn time. This is the youngest team, this, and this is the youngest team, that. And all at the end of the day, you got to go out there and perform no matter what your age is. Mm-hmm. But they are trying to learn as much as they can and be better for it. And the willingness to learn and to adapt, not to be stuck in your ways, not to think you have all the answers. And that's what we've seen from this young group, is saying, hey, we might be doing a lot of things as a first in terms of the U.S. men's national team. All these players playing Champions League at one time, none of them having real men's national team senior experience, but they're just growing and they're learning and they're using it to their benefit. They shocked the world with that performance against England. I know they shocked most of the United States fans, because England are the powerhouses. They are World Cup favorites, one of the World Cup favorites. They're a strong team. We outplayed them. We were the better team after 90 minutes. Can you imagine? We were the better team after 90 minutes. Not a question. Weston McKennie, Yunus Musa, and Tyler Adams dictated the game out of all of those players. So for me, I am so proud of Tyler Adams, because I know him personally. We have a great relationship, and just seeing him grow and seeing how he wants to be. He wants the best for our country. He wants the best for our sport. Holla at your boy, that top man. And so just from that standpoint, it doesn't get better from a captain. I've seen a lot of captains. You've seen a lot of captains who don't have that class, who don't have that mindset. And he absolutely does. So
yeah,
facts.
Look, and again, with Tyler Adams in that situation, we talk about team building, right? And we talk about coaches that have thrown players under the bus, and the effect that has on locker rooms. Jimmy talked about 2006 when Bruce Arena went out and publicly, went after a few of the players, and the effect that it had on the players in the locker room in terms of trust, of not being able to come back from that. That was a building moment for the team. And what I see there is a team that's maturing individually and collectively. And for them to be able to come out of that, we're talking about this. The whole media is talking about this. But one thing that's come out right now is the conversation that we're having about Tyler Adams, about this team, what they stand for, and what that means. And that is a building block of building this team. And I know this is off the field. A lot of this is political. I think the intentions, while I believe a little bit very naive on U.S. Soccer's part, and probably idiotic given the context of everything like that, the intentions of supporting the women of Iran and what that means, as well as the right to peacefully protest in Iran. I think all of that has the right intentions that I think a lot of the Iranians, as well as the U.S. players, can all agree upon. Now, with this team, though, I think there is a belief. I think the way that they handled that, I think that the way that Tyler Adams handled that shows the maturity of this group and what they're willing to do. And again, I know that's off the field. It's not necessarily a motivator, but it is a sign of the maturity of this team that sometimes we don't give them credit for, right? The young guys, they don't have the experience. They've never been there before. They've never been in a World Cup. All the things that we were going to say, well, if this team failed, we'd at least say 2026, we're ready. But this team is ready. And now they're a win away from going to the knockout rounds. And a fantastic result, or a fantastic performance against England, now gives me hope on how they can play and get a result against Iran to be able to go to the round of 16. Now, Charlie, looking at that, to shift back to the game itself, do you think it's going to come down to, as Jimmy mentioned, the super subs or in-game management? Do you think it's? Do you think this team is now? What's that?
I said, I hope not, Heath. I hope we don't.
Can we score multiple goals? Subs? Can we win comfortably, or do we need to suffer and have it be a little bit more CONCACAF-y, where it's like, it doesn't really settle down, but we're going to get our set piece, bang that in, and then defend like hell?
I can tell you one thing: we have the quality to beat Iran without needing the substitutions to come in and change the game. We have that quality. It depends on a number of things. Can we create that space in front of the Iranian backline or just behind it and expose them and get that early goal? An early goal will change this game and flip it upside down, because then Iran will have to change their whole approach, their tactics. And for us, that plays right into our hands. Come at us. We love to counter you and not have to think about how to break you down. The more space you give us, the more chances that we can create. I think we've struggled when teams have sat back against us. We've seen it in CONCACAF. When teams sit back in rigid blocks and give us little to no space in behind, we struggle with finding a solution. We struggle with the creativity of the game.
When to take risks is a big deal too within that.
So in my mind, I've always said Gio Reyna is one of those special players who can come up with that magic moment, whether it's playing a 1-2 or beating a player off the dribble, doing it, his vision. Those are the players you want on the pitch. However, since he hasn't played that much, I don't think he's going to start in this game, even though at full fitness, we all know he's a starter in this team. That's without a doubt. But I think he comes in and he has the ability to be that super sub for us, given the game isn't going the way that we want.